21st of November, another Tuesday here on KUTV Rise Today. Welcome back to this morning breakfast show that comes on your television sets every Monday and Tuesday. Monday you get Karen Blessing on art and culture, and today we switch things up to business on Biashara Tuesday. Let me know where you're tuning in from and also who else you'd like to tune into the show. Give a shout out all over social media platforms. We'll be taking a look at those as the show goes on. Yesterday, first of all, congratulations to Harambee Stars who won the World Cup qualifier game against Seychelles. So the game was played over in Seychelles and they thrashed them 5-0, 5 goals to no answer. You'd think they were playing with KPLC employees given how much home support they had, and they still could not perform. So that is what happened, 5-0 against Seychelles. Speaking of Tano Tena, President William Ruto, or first, let's not go there. Let's talk about what has happened over the weekend in the world of technology. If you want to warm your way into these cold days through a tech bro or a Texas, or if you want to, as they call it now, raise your way, you need to be aware of what is happening in that world of technology. If you know ChatGPT, of course, you've been using it for a minute. The CEO of the company behind ChatGPT, OKENYE, that is Sam Altman, was fired twice over the weekend and hired again by Microsoft before Monday morning. So these events occurred over a period of 3 days in what appears to be an internal takeover between Microsoft and a company that is spearheading the development of AI all over the world. So if you know a few of those details, you should be able to see or to warm your way, to charm your way into the heart of a tech bro or a tech sis. And that looks like 3 seasons of succession, events happening in 3 days, but worth a lot in the world of business. Speaking of succession closer home, or is it a house of cards? The Kenya Kwanza government is still blaming the Jubilee government over the wars that are following, of course, its regime. Just 1 year into administration, members of the Kenya Kwanza government, from the cabinet secretary Moses Kuria to the government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura, are saying the heavy borrowing that was orchestrated by Uhuru Kenyatta in the previous government of Jubilee is what is causing the dark times in the economic situation that the republic is currently facing. In short, the government is blaming the government over the problems that the government is causing the country, given that this is the same government under the deputy president back then, President current William Ruto. In the meantime, President William Ruto has jetted off the country into Germany, or is he out for a state visit after a short visit in Kenya? Now he's back to his international office, which Kenyans are saying is based or should be based at JKIA. Meanwhile, the World Bank has given us another loan as the government is blaming the Jubilee government over heavy borrowing. The Kenya Kwanza government has now inked a new deal worth trillions of Kenyan shillings with the World Bank, and this is going to be sponsored or going to be allocated in the next 2 years. Meanwhile, also here in Kenya, we are taking a look at the El Nino statistics. 80,000 families are now displaced, tens or hundreds now dead, and of course, hundreds of homes have been destroyed. We're looking at those numbers as the El Nino is underway over 33 counties, which has now drenched, and there seems to be no government preparedness, at least on the county level. We'll be delving into those details later in the newspaper review section. I've invited over Nick Mwadime Mwangi, is the M-KUSA executive, and he'll be here, of course, to look at those headlines and also other of the most developing and the most important stories in the world of business. There are also other conversations happening here, especially in the world of finance. We're trying to look at our personal traits which might hinder our placement or how we are positioned within the market or within the financial structure of the economy. How do we do in personal traits? How can we tweak them to ensure that we're investing more and we're attracting wealth into our lives? I have visitors and guests who I have invited over. I'll be telling you who they are, and of course their areas of expertise. Keep engaging with us. Leave us a comment at KUTV Kenya. My personal handles are at Richard_OKENYE all the way to 10 in the morning. Let's have fun. The show just kicked off. Okay, welcome back to, or welcome if you're just joining us to Biashara Tuesday on KUTV Rise. Today, engage us on social platforms. Hashtag to use there is Biashara Tuesday. Now let's take a look at the roads and also weather conditions around you. Let's begin with the weather updates today. Currently, it's at 15 degrees Celsius where I'm at, which is at the outskirts of Nairobi, the capital of Kenya. In the next few days, that is the next 5 days, I have a few details here. Today is going to be mostly cloudy with the highs of 23 degrees Celsius and lows of 14 degrees Celsius. Going to be expected to have short rains during the day, so dress appropriately and carry an umbrella wherever you're going. Tomorrow, thunderstorms, highs of 23 degrees Celsius and lows of 14 degrees Celsius. Thursday, the same trend all the way to the end of the week. Remember, more than 33 counties are now battling the effects of El Nino, which is currently underway and is expected to continue to the first or the second month of the next year, which is 2024. Kenyans can now see real-time maps of where extreme storm weather is heading a few hours before it gets to them. And this you can be doing it on your mobile phone. If you go to Google Play Store or your App Store, find an app called FASTA. FASTA is F-A-S-T-A. FASTA is a forecasting African storms application. That's what it stands for. And this you can use to track storms which are incoming. So be sure to download it and stay one step ahead of the weather and be aware and be prepared of any changes which are happening, especially during this heavy rain season. What's happening in terms of current traffic conditions and transport around the city of Nairobi and elsewhere? This is information I'm also getting this courtesy of Mathri Route. So shout out to Mathri Route on Twitter. You can check them out as you also prepare for your day. Let's begin with the Southern Bypass heading to Langata. Here I'm informed by DevOps Web Design saying massive traffic caused by 2 accidents. And this is Southern Bypass heading to Langata. If you're going that direction, beware. There's a snarl up at the Mountain View in Wayaki Way. There's an accident as well, that side, involving 5 vehicles. Heavy raining is causing slippery roads and also accidents. So beware. 2 accidents already. There have been one at Southern Bypass or at Mountain View, Wayaki Way, an accident which is involving 5 vehicles, and also another one in the Southern Bypass heading to Langata. Massive traffic which has been caused here by 2 accidents. Southern Bypass has so much traffic going into Mombasa Road and Langata Road. 2 major accidents involving several cars. Fuel prices over the last 1 year, petrol has improved or has increased. This is not an improvement. This is an upward trend of petroleum prices. Petrol at 22% since last year, time like this. Diesel 25% up since last year. And kerosene 39% up. And here a comment from Wango Capital saying T for tough for all the motorists who are trying to get fuel at cheaper prices. Mathri Route, here it's a bulletin saying our roads will definitely be safer in this if these 3 of the following are enforced in traffic rules in this order, or these 3 are forced to follow traffic rules and in this order. So these are the most notorious road users who, according to Bulletin 254, feels they should be regulated and forced to follow traffic rules, beginning with matatus and their circles, who are being termed as the worst, followed by motorbikes, which are boda riders, and 3 are Uber drivers, otherwise sioni ukiponea kwa hizi barabara. That is Bulletin 254. Along Mkoma Road in South B, Nairobi, there is here a walkway which has been turned into a garage, and Sakaja Johnson is being requested by residents of that side, and also Safe Pavements in Kenya, which is an organization taking a look at walkable or walkways for safe pedestrian use. And they're asking that in Mkoma Road in South B, Nairobi, Governor Sakaja attends to this. Kindly come up with laws that do not allow this in the city, where even walkways have been turned into garages. That's the information I'm getting so far. And a question here, where do I pick mats to Kileleshwa in town? Go all the way to Kencom, and this is from Gashom. Happy day ahead for you if it's business or work that you're heading to do over in Kileleshwa, but also let us know what is happening in your roads. Those are the major updates in Thika Road. Also, I see a build-up from Utalii College all the way to town. There's traffic buildup. Avoid the highway. Use the service lane. That's information from this side. Watu wa Kiambu Road, please also let us know what is happening there. We'll be giving you those updates as the show goes on. This, remember, is Biashara Tuesday. We have much more in business coming up. There are guests invited over for conversations in finance, money, and the economy as well. So don't go too far. More exciting things are happening. Stay with us. Was asked the government to provide an evidence proving that oil was purchased through the Kenyan shillings but not the dollar, as stated yesterday or 2 days ago by President William Ruto. Raila has also questioned about the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission's silence as he called on Cabinet Secretaries Davis Chirchir and Njuguna Ndung'u to resign.
The opposition leader Raila Odinga has today revealed that he agrees with Busia Senator Okiya Omtata as he released another statement revealing the government oil saga just a day after President Ruto inquired the opposition to provide an evidence on the matter. In the statement which he made at Azmio offices in Nairobi, Raila told the government to show the evidence verifying that oil was purchased through Kenyan shillings but not the dollar.
Busia Senator Honorable Okiya Omtata tabled evidence of the government withdrawing 42,965,290,402 shillings.
Odinga also called on the Cabinet Secretary for Energy Davis Chirchir and the Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury Njuguna Ndung'u to resign and be prosecuted, claiming that they stole public money through opaque oil deals.
This must be document signed by a representative of the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and the Republic of Kenya, not that of the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum and ADNOC Global Trading Limited or Emirates National Oil Company.
Raila questioned about the silence of Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chairperson Bishop David Oginde as he asked the EACC, Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority EPRA, and Office of the Auditor General to investigate various crimes committed by the government through the opaque oil deals, including the procurement process in the Energy Ministry.
They stole money from the Consolidated Fund in addition to spending monies way above what Parliament approved. They must not only resign, they must also be prosecuted.
Regarding the G2G oil deal, Raila stated that a government-to-government deal is usually signed by government officials from both states, but not minister from the other countries signed the deal and said it was signed by oil companies. Derek Odhiambo, KUTV.
All right, now the relentless surge in commodity prices has left many households grappling with difficult choices, with some forced to survive on just one meal a day. Situations have become so tough, making families meticulously budget every shilling to put food on the table. Our reporter Charles Kirubi has prepared a comprehensive story delving into the challenges of ordinary Kenyans and what they are facing. Take a look.
The cost of living has tremendously risen following the high prices of commodities in the country. Kenyans have been stretching so much to be able to cope with the harsh economic conditions elicited by everyday rising economy. It's not a surprise today to get a number of people or families surviving on one meal a day, or even none. Rather, some get to budget for very small amounts of money to make sure at least they have a meal a day. We have joined a family in one of the slums in Nairobi, Kenya, Mukuru kwa Ruben, to get a glimpse of how most of the families here survive with the high cost of life. Justa Gatweri is a wife and the mother of one living in Mukuru kwa Ruben. She budgets for 300 Kenya shillings for a meal and makes sure that the whole family is fed, including her cousin, and in case of a visitor, they get a bite together.
Kwa familia yangu budget ya 300 inabidi tuna minimize. So like unga, mafuta, nyanya, kitunguu. Lazima tu minimize cause tunakula tuko wengi kidogo.
Justa, who is also called Mama Jabari, has embraced the culture of buying small commodities from small shops in small quantities rather than buying them from supermarkets in bulks to ensure that her budget is not affected.
Mimi na prefer kununua kidogo kidogo. Juu kama huku unaweza nunua mafuta ya 30. Nikienda super siwezi pata mafuta ya 30. Una super itabidi nichukue kama lita 1, 2, lakini huku unaweza pata ya 30. Juu unaweza pata siku niko na tu hiyo 30. So unaona hapo siwezi. Naangalia pia mfuko yangu.
Today she plans for ugali and greens for lunch. She has specific places she purchases goods that fits her pocket. She begins with buying charcoal, where she buys charcoal worth 50 shillings that will only satisfy lunch cooking only. The charcoal shop has different prices of charcoal, including 10 shillings charcoal to make everyone afford them. From the charcoal shop, she then goes to purchase maize flour and cooking oil. She purchases 1 kg maize flour for 110 shillings and cooking oil worth 30 Kenya shillings, which is a bit cheaper compared to buying them from a supermarket.
Juu kama huku unaweza nunua mafuta ya 30. So kama kuna mwenye anaweza kuambia unga kilo moja 120, kuna mwingine atakwambia 110. So unasa unaenda kwa 110.
Buying these commodities from a supermarket is a different story to her, saying that the small retail shops breaks down the prices to make it affordable to her on a daily basis. She proceeds to purchase vegetables from Mama Mboga, where she purchased tomatoes worth 20 shillings, onions 10 shillings, and sukuma wiki for 40 shillings. With these commodities, the lunch is now ready for the family.
Nyanya pia inafaa kwa ya mbao, lakini sisi tunaweka kama 10 ama 15, alafu kitunguu, alafu mboga. Kwa hiyo familia yangu mboga inaza tutosha tuseme 40 bob.
The high cost of living has not only affected Justa Gatweri, but also Susan, who has turned her business place to be her place of living due to unaffordable housing. Susan Wanjira is a parent and a small-scale businesswoman who fled from his home county, Nyeri, to earn a living in Bypass, Ruiru, Kiambu County, but the current economic situation has proved to be an obstacle.
Lakini mimi naaga hapa juu shida ile iko, hakuna pesa na ile pesa tunapata ni ya mdomo. Kazi iko chini. Hapa Bypass tunalalamika, hakuna kazi tunang'ang'ana tu, kila mtu anapata. Tukasema sawa, uchumi iko juu lakini hakuna pesa. Kazi ilikuwa poa lakini saa hii kazi hakuna imeishia, lakini tunangoja tu ile tunapata tu ndio tunashukuru Mungu tu. Sasa hii hatua niliona juu hakuna pesa ya kulipa nyumba, nikaona afadhali nikiwa nimelala hapa na akija moto juu ya mbu, ning'ang'ana nipata hata ya madawa. Mimi natumianga madawa, sina mtu wa kunisaidia. Auza kitu nikipata na nunua dawa. Sasa hii hata madawa zangu zimeisha saa hii ya sukari. Sasa hakuna no otherwise. Lazima ning'ang'ane, ile nitapata nitakibona chache tu ninunue. Sina pesa ya kukopoa nyumba.
Her story is another epitome of how the cost of living has left many Kenyans feeling the pain of the harsh economic conditions due to the high cost of commodities.
Hapa bypass tunalalamika, kuna kazi tunang'ang'ana tu, kila mtu anapata. Tukasema sawa, uchumi iko juu lakini hakuna pesa. Kazi ilikuwa poa lakini saa hii kazi hakuna imeishia, lakini tunangoja tu ile tunapata tu ndio tunashukuru Mungu tu. Sasa hii hatua niliona juu hakuna pesa ya kulipa nyumba, nikaona afadhali nikiwa nimelala hapa, lakini moto juu ya mbu ning'ang'ana nipate hata madawa. Mimi natumianga madawa, sina mtu wa kunisaidia. Nauza kitu nikipata na nunua dawa. Sasa hivi hata madawa zangu zimeisha saa hii ya sukari. Sasa hakuna no otherwise. Lazima ning'ang'ane, ile nitapata nitakibona chache tu ninunue. Sina pesa ya kukopoa nyumba.
With the high taxes imposed in many commodities, she has turned up to buy less commodities as customers have turned away due to the hiked prices.
Wateremshe mavitu kiasi, hii makastoma akikuja kununua waache kulalamika. Kulalamika kama mkate saa hii na hata mtu akikula watamzima, hiyo sio chakula, ni kuchikilia tu moyo isiende. Sasa kama wangeweza wateremshe mavitu kiasi, watu wataweza kununua. Juu saa hii mkate kama inatoka 65 nauza na 70, ingine inauzwa na 60, nauza na 65. Wageteremsha tu wauze na 50, ingekuwa poa. Juu mtu anaweza kunywa chai na mkate, hiyo lunch inapita.
What is the situation of the economy of the country today? Wycliffe Bichanga is an economist who has illustrated to us the current situation regarding the cost of living in the country.
So currently where we are, things are not good. Things are going up. People are complaining. But the general economic feel is that we have seen stagnated growth over the years. And it is our hope that we will get out of this situation soon so that we can continue with the growth path that we had already taken some years.
According to economist Wycliffe Bichanga, what greatly affects Kenya's economy is the unsteady rise of level of inflation in the country, highlighting that the increase of commodity prices triggers the increase in taxation.
And at the moment, the currency, and it's actually what we've just said about the exchange rates, once the rates go up, that is now they are unstable, they are rapidly increasing, what happens is that the common mwananchi will feel the heat. Will feel the heat because the prices will be unstable, the prices will be unpredictable, and most sadly, the prices will be going up. That affects living because what it means that what you are able to afford for, let's say, 1,000 shillings goes less. If you're able to have unga, 2 packets of unga with 500 shillings, you now realize that you can only have a half or one.
The level of taxation in the country is another cause of the high cost of living, Wycliffe stating that the high taxes imposed on many commodities has also worsened the situation in the country.
Right now, everyone is talking about taxation. We're happy that the government is keen to self-generate income, but we've got to be very careful as a country not to push people the other way around, because when you push people so much, there's that which they can do. So currently what we've seen is, and we're not against taxation, we're not against people paying taxes, but I think we've got to stop, we've got to be careful not to overtax people. And currently what has happened is that there are several new measures that have happened left, right and center, which sort of put questions in people's minds. They want to know which way are we really going? Why are we doing this?
Wycliffe Bichanga goes ahead to advise Kenyans to consider the most important things when budgeting for their money as one of the measures to be able to cope with the high cost of living.
One of the things that everyone should embrace right now is a very underrated item called budgeting. At this point in time, we must budget. Times are hard, the money is little, but can you budget the little that you have? I think to me that should be the biggest advice, that whatever you get, it doesn't matter the figure, sit down, have a proper budget, and try and live to the budget. And also after you budget, make sure that you actually track your expenses.
The high cost of living has continued pushing many Kenyans, while tough economic situation continue to perplex many here in the country. However, citizens still have hope that the government is going to hear their cry and lower the cost of commodities. Charles Kirubi, KUTV.
That the man bringing us the problems of the poor is called Chris Kirubi. Thank you, Chris Kirubi, for that story on how Kenyans are surviving during these tough times. Many, especially young people, are finding it hard to survive in this harsh economic situation that we find ourselves in all over the world, and especially the youth who are not very aware or are not well placed in terms of investment opportunities. So how do you tweak your personal traits to ensure that you're aligning yourself well with where market opportunities are for you to reap huge even when times are getting tough as it is of the moment? The Finance Society of Kenya of Kenyatta University, the Finance Society of Kenyatta University has prepared for us a conversation, a very wholesome conversation that you don't want to miss out on, especially on what you could do to prepare yourself to start investing, as well as also make yourself viable enough. How do you do that? How do you change your personal traits, and how exactly do they affect the opportunities that you are able to attract or that you're able to invest in? We'll be taking a look at that later on, and I'll tell you who is joining me on set. In the meantime, hours after resurfacing in the political scene in Mwingi, Kitui County, former President Uhuru Kenyatta has received so many reactions after the speech that he made, reactions that he has received from various leaders within the government, within the National Assembly, and including Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, who's now blaming the former head of state for plunging the country into an economic crisis. Listen in.
The former head of state's remarks has sparked reactions from the National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, who threw the blame on the former president's regime, saying corruption and state capture are the reason behind Kenya's dwindling economy. According to Ichung'wah, Kenyatta only came out after noticing his plans to kickstart the process of setting up a state capture commission, which he says is the only way through which Uhuru's regime will be scrutinized.
Our problems with our economic problems go back years during his regime. That is a fact of life that Uhuru Kenyatta will never run away from. It is a fact of
this
life.
This comes after retired President Uhuru Kenyatta threw a political jab at President William Ruto's government, denouncing the current administration for blaming the former regime for its woes.
I've had my former president.
On his side, Bilguch Member of Parliament Nelson Koech called upon the retired president to be careful with his public pronouncements. Koech accused Uhuru of single-handedly plunging the nation into the current economic crisis, telling him to avoid deflecting any blame made against him by Ruto's government. In a post shared on X app, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria told Kenyatta to be quiet and let the current government do what he described as cleaning the mess the previous administration left behind. The former president's reemergence in the political scene has also raised questions over his support for Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka's presidential bid in the 2027 general elections. Sylvester Ogembo, KUTV.
the news updates this morning from KUTV Newsroom. Thank you for keeping it there, and also ensure that you're following up the rest of the developments later on Mzizi ya Habari at 6:30 p.m. That is the Swahili version. And then Primetime News at 9 p.m. KUTV Kenya brings you all the developments all around the world, in Kenya and also across our borders. You're coming back with a conversation on exploring investment opportunities. And as I said earlier on, this has been prepared or has been brought to us by the Finance Society of Kenyatta University. They have been our friends for a minute now. We've had so many of these conversations regarding money, economy, and finance. And this morning, exploring investment opportunities is a discussion we're having here with the Kenyatta University, a student at Kenyatta University, and also an organizing secretary at the FSKU, that is the Finance Society of Kenyatta University. And this is Mona Mongera. Miss Mona Mongera is here with us and accompanied by Isaiah Muga, who is a senior accountant at Rocket Products Limited. He'll be telling us what exactly he does with Rocket Products Limited, but also especially on what kind of investment opportunities there are, and if you should be confident, given that the shilling is currently deteriorating against the dollar. We are trading at more than 160 Kenyan shillings to $1. Can you still be confident in investing, and where exactly should you invest? So those are some of the questions we'll be answering after this short break. Don't go too far. Okay, at KUTV Kenya, that is where we are sampling all your feedback at on social media platforms at Richard_OKENYE. And I already see a couple of people who have tuned in to the show. So Mutua Bran, it's good I give you a shout out this morning. You're saying Ali Raiza, and you're here on the show. Stanley Teach as well, who is checking us out, and I'd love to know exactly where you are tuning in from and where you're giving us this shout out from. Antonio Dreadhead also watching the show, and this is through Twitter. Kenya Sihami, yours truly, also giving us a shout out, and atuambia to check out kenyasihami.co.ke. Pia tutaangalia what kind of business is also on that side. As I told you earlier on, it's currently a very tough time, especially for young people. If you're trying to get an income, employment opportunities are scarce. If you're trying to invest, there are high inflation rates. If you are trying to invest abroad, federal reserves are also dwindling and the interest rates are going up. Over time, people have been struggling to understand the best investment opportunities around them. However, they do not know, or they're not aware, that some of their emotions, some of their personal traits, characteristics as well do affect how they attract investment opportunities or how they place themselves within the market. And I'm having this kind of conversation here with me. How exactly can you positively guard or positively influence your personality for you to identify and enjoy available investment opportunities which are there around you? A couple of questions I'm going to be sampling also from you to ask my guests here this morning, but let me hear from them. Of course, let them introduce themselves, and then we get into the discussion. I'll start with the lady. Good morning, Mona, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
My name is Mona Mongera. I'm an organizing secretary from the Finance Society of Kenyatta University. I'm quite humbled to be here to explain, or rather explore, the world of investment. And at FSKU, that's what we basically deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Senior accountant, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. My name is Isaiah Muga. I'm a senior accountant at Rocket Products Limited, and the good news that I was a student here sometimes back. I got out of this place in 2018. Yeah, so pleasure to be here. All right. I appreciate it.
All right, I'm here with you guys to explore, of course, investment opportunities, but also to try and understand personal traits. I'm sure when we mostly discuss about finance or investment opportunities, people never get to also take a look at their personal traits. Maybe I can begin with you, Isaiah. Why do you think personal traits are also important to have a look at?
Okay, when you start by saying outside here, outside here requires a bit kind of uniqueness in a person, rather than the normal thing that maybe we receive from our schools, maybe receive from whichever place we get to learn. So first I would want to say that if you get outside KU here, now you get into the job market, you want to invest, it requires a bit different thing from whatever we get, like just like I was saying. So maybe I will start by saying that as a person or as a young people who are striving to get outside there and be so competitive, you need to have some kind of traits that will enable you to be more competitive outside there. I can give, for example, let's say now I study maybe accounting here. Now, besides the accounting, what else do I have?
Right.
Because how many people are doing the accounting? There's so many. So what will make you stand out? Are you someone who is able to go above and beyond, ensure that when you're leaving your campus, you are an Excel guru? Because the world of today requires data. Do you know how to work with the data? Because, you know, right now we have systems which can do the accounting work from A to Z.
Yeah.
So what will make you fix yourself? Okay, is now do something different that the system cannot do. Be someone who you're able to handle the data well. That's something which is currently so important, especially to people in finance and and accounting. Be able to handle this well. Be able to be someone who can relate. How do you relate with people? Are you someone who is just independent alone? Do you have the good culture of intermarrying one another? How can you relate with my colleague here in the work environment? Again, if you get outside there, you find that they require somebody who is outgoing. How do we talk about someone being outgoing? When you're outgoing, you're someone who is able to take these responsibilities without more problems, without reliance on people. Are you integral? Okay. Can people rely on you? So you'll find that when you get outside there, whatever you'll find, it will be a totally opposite picture of what we find from maybe home, the learning institutions. Right. So we require those uniqueness, the skills that will be able to make you stand out of the system. Because just like I said, system can do it from A to Z. So how do you beat the system?
Right. How do you make your traits stand out? And I think that's important, especially now that we're having discussions around AI and people are like, how do I, AI is doing this. So how do I become better, or what else can I do that it's not doing? So personal traits now play a very big role there.
It plays a big role, just like you said with the AI now. It means that if you are not so unique, then you are totally out of the concept. So how do you marry yourself with the coming technology? Okay, and then what gap do you see in the technology that you can say that, okay, this is what AI can do, but now me as Isaiah, this is what I can do different from the AI. So that's what we are looking for.
Mona, now when I come to you as a student and a young person who's also among the populace which is highly affected by the levels of unemployment and also very few investment opportunities, do you agree that personal traits also do come into play when we're looking at exploring market opportunities?
Okay, yeah, I actually do agree with him that personal traits actually play a big role in your investments. First of all, you have to understand yourself before you invest. Before you even identify a business or an investment opportunity, you have to identify who you are. Because investments, these are risks. We are taking risks to invest. So you have to identify the kind of person you are, first of all, before you even identify an opportunity. By understanding your personal traits, then you're able to identify, you are able to know your risk, where you stand in terms of risk. You understand? Because you see, I can be a person who is a risk taker. I can take high risks. But there are people there outside who are not able to they don't want to take big risks. So by you understanding your risk levels, you are able now to know where should I start in
Right.
terms of investment.
Right. All right. I see that also coming into play when it's I saw introverts and extroverts. Some extroverts are happy to invest, happy to go into risk. Some introverts are a bit reserved even when it comes to their financial decisions. So your personal trait also, even if it comes to a social setting, seems to also come into play when it comes to other matters of finance or even investment. So let me come back to you, Isaiah. How much do I need at this point? It's the biggest question that the young people ask themselves once they are out of campus. How much do I need before I start investing?
Okay, that's a good question. There's an old saying that says, it takes money to make money. But this say can be somehow, like in the current world we are, can be somehow debatable. So why do I say this? When you ask me how much do I need to invest, what comes into my mind is investment only money? Which rank is money? At what level does money come in? So what I'll say that first, investment is not money. That is my perspective. Investment is not about how much you have, but it involves a number of things. One, as a person, do you know what you want? You want to invest, sure. Okay, no problem. But why is it? What exactly do you want to invest in? That's one thing. The next thing, are you able as a person to take the risks that are involved with the investment? If you leave money aside, because money is not a big problem here.
Right.
The moment you have the idea, there are financiers outside here. You go to the bank, sell your idea, they give you the money.
Right.
But now, do you have it? Do you have the idea? Are you able to take this risk? Okay.
Right.
Can you be able to stand the competition which is outside there? Because if you look at the investments around, whether you want to do, let's say for example, you just want to do a simple business. This one people do in the streets of Nairobi, selling maybe smoky and egg. You're not the only one doing it.
Yes.
So how are you going to do it different?
So it's not a question of how much.
It's not a question of how much to me.
Right.
It's a question of how am I going to be different?
Okay.
The moment I get that it is the idea, then now the how much will come in. Okay? Now the how much will come in. Okay, I have this idea. Now, what do I do to get it? Now, let me give you an example to disapprove how much. Because I'm trying to just to make us understand that investment is not about money. Look here. On the 17th, that is last week.
Right.
If you look in the Nairobi exchange market, you find that the giant company Safaricom shares closed with 13.5 Kenya shillings per share. Now, if I ask you, do you, by Friday, assuming that you have the knowledge that the shares were there, did you not have 13 shillings?
I did have.
You did have.
Yes.
Why didn't you not invest? Okay.
Right. I
It
probably
means-
had more than 13 shillings.
Yeah, you had more. You could buy thousands of them.
Yeah.
But now the thing was, are you able to take that risk? Okay. That is the question. The first question when it comes to investment, are you able to take the risk? Okay. Did you have the idea? So most of the time, what I will say is that before we think about how much, let's think about of other factors. Okay. Let's think about of other factors which are more important. Because right now, assuming that I walk into, I know there is Equity Bank somewhere in KU. I just walk and tell them, you know what? I want to do investment. Give me money.
Right.
They'll ask me, what do you want to do? They'll not ask me how much. All right? So I think I can take that perspective. And then now, to answer your question now, I'll say that now the how much now depends with what do you want to do. You can start a business as low as 13 shillings. I have told you, it's a business, and it's an investment, okay?
Right.
And it's a very good rewarding business. And now the risk involved is also high. The higher the risk, the higher the return. So now the question of how much now comes with, depends with what do you want inside. Yeah.
All right, Mona, now when it comes to young people, students, is it possible to then positively influence them to think of personality traits first? How they can become more risk takers, how can they can get to be more assertive even. Is it possible to positively influence that, and how can we do it to ensure that they are not just thinking about how much money in terms of financial capital, but also maybe their own personal capital? How much are they willing to even get into investment? How can we do that, and is it possible? Yeah.
It's actually very possible to positively influence the students and also the young youths. First of all, as a youth, you do not have to wait for someone to come and teach you how to invest. There are very many resources out here. All you need to do is just do your due diligence, take action. Do not wait. I won't come knocking at your door, tell you invest. But as youths, we need to be the change makers. Yes, we have to take action. We do our due diligence. There's so much information out here that we can take advantage of. But before that, we also have to understand ourselves. Before you even invest, you need to know, what do I want? Do not even think about the money first. Do not think about how much do I need, how much do I have. First of all, do you have that idea? If you do not have that idea, how can you then generate that idea first of all? And it's not even all about getting an idea, but there are people who cannot come up with an idea, but you can work on an idea that has already been generated by someone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So just by understanding that, you can now start on working on that idea. If you don't have the money, or you have an idea but you don't have the money, there are very many sources of getting that money. For example, if you are a KU student, there is the business, the Chandaria, the business innovative Chandaria. They are funders. They fund your idea from the word go. They help you to manage your business until it's running well.
Okay.
Yeah, so you do not have to wait until you actually get billions of money so that you can invest. You just have to start a step by step. Yeah.
Okay. What I hear there is viability for investing, which is the question I wanted also to pass through to Mr. Isaiah there. Is there something like someone who's viable enough for investing? You pointed out that the share price at Safaricom last week was 13 shillings, which means almost everyone in Kenya is viable enough? Or how do we put it? Is there a category of people who are viable for investing and some who are not? Or are we all, it's just that we don't understand that we are?
Okay, I think a general term, everyone can invest. But now to specify, it is not everyone who is an investor. Okay? There are a group of people in life. We have someone who is a risk taker. That's an investor. Then we have someone who they don't want to hear something like, I buy share. What do you mean buy share? What about if that company closed? They start asking such kind of a question. So I would say that someone who is viable to invest is that person who is able to withstand or who is able to accommodate the risks that are involved with the investment. Investment world is something that is quite a bit of risky thing, because I tell you that right now I have 100 shillings, and then you tell me I go and buy maybe a packet of sweets to start selling in the streets, maybe of KU here. The question I'll ask myself is, now, if I do go buy this sweet, what if I don't get someone to buy? I will have lost my 100. Okay, so just to make it a bit understandable, I would say that someone who is able to invest is that person who is patient. Okay, the patience in someone tells you that you are able to accommodate the risks which are there. You know that investment is not personal, so you are able to be patient. Even if things are going south, you are patient. If things are going right, you are patient. Because some people, you can find that you invest and then you're lucky enough, the investment just pick up. Okay, so when it's pick up, then you are lost again. You can't control yourself. You lack the patience of having the money. Okay, now patience matters here.
Right.
The second thing that I can say with someone who wants to be an investor is that person who is not tired of getting the knowledge, the one who is continuously learning. Investment is not a stagnant thing.
Okay.
Investment is dynamic. Today you invest on a furniture business. Like for example, in Rocket Product, what we do gifting. Okay? But if you gift me today a watch, okay? Do you think tomorrow I'll need the same type of a watch? No. I'll need another type.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So it is dynamic, able to understand your environment, where you are. Okay?
Right.
So if you're someone who is continuously learning, you are good to go. And then someone who is analytical, okay? Can you be able to analyze what you see? Because, if you ask me now, Mona here, you ask me, what is the color of Mona's maybe dress? Then I say, it's like blue, it's like yellow. I'm not able to bring out the picture. So if you're not able to bring out the picture of the data that you have or the investment that you are doing in terms of the analysis, I think it will be hard for you to make your investment prosper. Okay? So I would say that be patient, be analytical, and be able to learn. Get to read. Okay? If you see the CEO of maybe Amazon, get to understand what did they do. Okay?
All right.
And then you learn there.
All right.
Okay?
All right. Mona, when it comes to the Finance Society of Kenyatta University, I'm sure you're at the forefront, of course, educating students on investment opportunities and, how to place themselves in the market. Given the tough economic times, how do you then get to encourage them? It's tough. Prices of commodities are up. Students have very little within their pockets. They might be very ready to, take risks to invest, but the economy is tough, so they're, a bit hesitant. And I think I'll also bring the question back to you in general. Populace, the shilling is deteriorating, it's losing against the dollar. If I invest now, will I still reap? And I think the same question a student will ask themselves. If I spend this money now investing, will I still reap? Is it possible for them to still find opportunities as the times are tough?
Okay, so as Finance Society of Kenyatta University, the major thing that we try to put here to students is that you do not have, yes, times are tough. It's tough for everyone, including us, including those who are in the employment sector. So for us as students, what can we do? First of all, that's where the aspect of budgeting comes in. Do not just spend every coin that you have. Spare some. You do not have to save 1 million for you to actually invest. The little that you have, if you're getting 1,000, just spare some 100 every month. Get a viable investment opportunity. Invest. Let your money grow. From when you invest, and then you're able to get a return. From that return now, you can now start diversifying your portfolio. So what I can urge most of my students, or most of the students here, and also the youth, is that yes, times are tough, but let's embrace the culture of investment. Right. Do not just spend unnecessarily.
Okay.
All
right. Mr. Isaiah, the Kenyan shilling is losing value, and is it safe for us to put money right now and expect returns? We are trying to invest. I'm very good at risks, but isn't this too risky?
Okay, if you're an investor, you say that the moment you see risk, you see opportunity. Okay. But now, it is true. Our currency is really going down, even against the East African entities that we have around, even if you leave the dollar. Now, I think this is the right time for someone to ask themselves the question, what type of investment do I want to put myself into?
Okay.
We understand the dollar affects everything naturally everything around. But like Mona have said here, investment is a part of the risk. It's risky business, okay? But now what do we do? As a student, as a person, as an individual outside there, what should happen now is you should look for those areas where you feel that in as much as we have the impact of the dollar, but now, can you be able to sustain your investment? How directly is your business or the investment related to the dollar? Because, for example, let me give you an example. You invest into an import business where you have to import everything, okay? Definitely, you are going to have a big challenge. But now, if you invest into things like maybe, let's say, the handmade, where you go, maybe you go to the shamba there, do some small farming, though the fertilizer will be imported and the rest, but there's some kind of a backup plan which comes there, that at the end of the day, you'll get the fertilizer because the government will be there to ensure that there is fertilizer.
They're spending the dollar on your behalf.
On your behalf. Then you'll get it at a higher price, okay? But your business will be able to move, okay? So I feel that when, during this time, look at the sustainability, how your business or your investment is directly or indirectly affected by the dollar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Mona, is it possible also, how do we identify investment opportunities as young people and students? In which avenues can we look at? If I'm trying to invest now, I'm very ready to take risks. I have my 300 shillings. How do I start looking and where do I look?
Okay, first of all, before you even start looking, we've said you know your personality. Yeah?
Okay.
You know who you are. So from there now, you can now start doing your research. There are very many opportunities here, but now the opportunities that you will be at your disposal is according to where you are as a person.
Okay.
What amount of money do you have? What risk are you willing to take? And how much or for how long? Because we have like long-term investments that go even for more than 10 years. They are very short-term, that maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, your investment has matured. So those are very many factors that we need to consider in terms of where to invest our money. Okay. So if, for example, you want to invest in a long-term investment, then you will have to look for a long-term plan. For example, you can invest in stock markets. Yeah, like you've just said, stock markets is actually something that you can invest with as low as 13 shillings, like you've said. Yeah. So it just depends with what do you want to invest, for how long, and how much do you have. But for us as students, what I've seen, majority of the students, we do not have large sums of money, but we can, for me, what I've seen that is really working for most people, you can pull your funds together as a group. Pull your funds together, maybe 10 people, invest in not big currencies, Yeah, when you pull your funds together, put them in an investment, maybe a money market fund. Yeah, money markets are short term with low risk. Yeah, they'll give you a good return.
All right.
From there now, as you grow, you can now start diversifying, maybe in maybe dollar denominated assets. Yeah, so there are many opportunities for us students. It's just a matter of doing your own due diligence and you research, and take a risk.
All right. Isaiah, as we try and conclude here, I think I'll give you an opportunity to let us know what Rocket Products does. And then as well, our very last pressing question, which is, where do we stand as a country in the next 10 years in terms of investment, and where does that place us as youth? Yeah, maybe I'm 27 years old. In the next 10 years, might not be necessarily in the category of youth. What will the country be looking like, and how does that affect me? I think I'll also like the same answer from the perspective of Mona there. But first, what does Rocket do?
Okay, thank you so much. So Rocket Products Limited is a company incorporated in Kenya. We operate across the East and the West Africa. Now we have a presence in South Africa. So what we do corporate gifting. Okay. We ensure that we create a smile on your on your client or on anyone that you want to gift. So we do gifting. So majorly we do the promo. We are in the promo industry where we do the branded items. If you witnessed the other time when the Stanchart Marathon, I hope you loved the jerseys and the rest.
Yes.
That was a product of Rocket Product Limited.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we ensure that we create some memorable moments. Yeah, I know for a long time people remember Standard Chartered. Okay. Because we believe in the power of gifting. Okay. Right now, the only thing that will make you remember me is if I give you something. All right. It is the best thing that you can ever give anybody. So we believe in gifting, and we are present in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Mauritius, and we look into the future, like now we say, to expand more, despite the dollar, despite everything going around in the world. But we are looking into expanding into Africa, to have physical office across Africa. Yeah, so that's what we do at Rocket Product Limited.
Okay. Next 10 years forecast, investment opportunities, how is it going to look like in Kenya, and what do you think the youth should do to be prepared for that kind of future?
Okay, maybe I want to start even before I look at the next 10 years. I want to talk about the youths.
Okay.
I think as a youth, which I am, there's one thing that I would want to really emphasize. Regardless of what's happened, whether the status was just the normal one, the only way to survive as a youth, because being a youth is full of challenge, because whatever you think of doing,
somebody has
already did it. Okay? Yeah, just like when you're doing your master's program or whatever program you're doing, maybe doctorate, professor thing, you want to write something, you find someone else has done it. So as a youth, we are highly challenged. Okay? And that means that I will want to advise the youths that be aggressive. Okay? Be consultative. Okay? Be someone who makes friends with the old, the youth, so that you get to bridge the gap between the old and the youth. The old will know that this is where I mess up. Okay? So if I tell you I'm the old one, I mess up here, you will not want to get into that. So be aggressive. Look for mentors to ensure that you survive. Otherwise, it will be so hard for us as a youth to survive in this environment. So now when I come back to the question of as a country or as a nation in the next 10 years, to be a little bit frank here, there's something that I studied here in KU. There was something called the law of diminishing return. That it was stating that as you increase more labor, it reaches a situation where the returns will start to decline. Okay? So as a country, in terms of maybe taxation and everything, you find we are going to a direction where things are not trying to move now, but instead things are going down, because we are reaching that level where people cannot accommodate. But now, in the next 10 years, I think this is a good opportunity. My CEO in South Africa told me something that relates with this, that don't let a mistake go into waste. Okay? So in as much as the country is hard, okay, maybe because of a mistake or which is happening in the entire world, as a youth, as a country, we should not let that go into waste.
Okay.
Meaning that we should measure on this mistake and learn and see that, okay, what did we do wrong? Okay, so that we correct.
Okay.
So in the next 10 years, what I feel like, okay, in me, I'm very positive that the country will go into the good direction, because already we've made it. As an entire world, it's not Kenyan problem. As an entire world, we've made it. So what correction mechanism do we want to do? And that's the advice that I will want to put outside there, that for the leaders outside there, for individual persons who are there. Don't let a mistake go into waste.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mona, any last parting shots in regards to how we can prepare ourselves for more investment opportunities into the future? He said, of course, people should take a look at how they can network, how they can get mentors, how they can get to, bridge that kind of gap within generations as well. You get, wisdom from those who have gone before you, and also collaboration from those who are with you, and from maybe those who are younger. As someone who's younger in that kind of category, how can we also encourage ourselves to prepare for the next few years?
Okay, so I'd say that let's be prepared. Things might go the good way, things might go the bad way. So for us as youths, let's be proactive. We have the energy, we have the time, we have the resources. So let's be proactive. Let's try even to create businesses for ourselves. Also, let's embrace technology, because at this point where we are, technology plays a very big role in our lives, in our society, in our economy. So let's embrace technology in the positive ways, and let's try maybe using that technology to actually create benefits to us and to the society.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, for having this conversation with me. This has been exploring investment opportunities, and it was a conversation also that has put personal traits versus those market opportunities. Ensure that you're investing in yourself positively, so that you know how to attract investment opportunities, or also how to collaborate with those around you. Mona says that students should come together, pull their few coins here and there and invest together, and also later diversify their portfolio. Azai is having a positive outlook and saying that we should be capitalizing on the mistakes and should not let them go to waste. That's the last message I leave you there as I go for a break and also sample your feedback. There are a couple of guys who are tuned in. I'll be giving you a shout out once I'm back from that break, so don't go too far.
Repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila uoga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi. Wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
What are some of the ways through which you can develop these skills so that you are comfortably fitting into the job?
You have to put yourself in positions where you are uncomfortable in the sense that you are not clear about what to do.
Because I used to work a corporate job before. So when I left, I happened to visit someone's farm around this area.
So this project is called Security Breach Detector and Readiness Familiarize. It is meant to be used to detect, detonate explosive.
We'll tackle all the tough issues, discuss all the weird moments, and hopefully share a few laughs along the way.
Kutoka kuwa jamii ya kuhamahama na sasa kujumuisha kilimo katika mitindo yao ya maisha. Kwenye toleo la kaunti ya Narok, hii ni Boresha Kilimo, kwani afya bora ni kilimo bora.
Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
The folks are going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu. Pepo pa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni dunia ni leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Fashionistas, get ready to level up your style game. Tune in to Fashion Diaries every Monday at 8 p.m. with me, Ashley Asach. From Kia Hills to split suits, we've got the trends that will make you shine. Don't be left out. Join us for a fashion-filled adventure.
Hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box.
A loving husband and father.
Nothing is too good for my daughter.
An ambitious businessman with a dark secret. A girl with a whole life in front of her, plunging into a marriage that she did not choose with the wrong man.
I'm not ready to marry Zima.
But who is the right one? I love Nambi. A rock star, living the dream.
But the babes keep chasing me, Agisa.
It ain't easy being famous, especially with so many glamorous women around. A woman hell-bent on revenge.
He will pay.
Seductive, dangerous. She is a predator. Everybody needs it. Everybody wants it. They will do anything to get it. Love and wealth.
You know, reggae music wasn't the most popular music in my neighborhood growing up. And I discovered it on the radio, and from the first moment, just couldn't stop listening.
Many people express themselves through music.
Music is a freedom of expression.
We want the music to reach the people.
They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Got me all I bring from the beginning.
I gave you my heart, right from the start, don't break it. Maria, I gave you my heart, right from the start, don't break it. Wanna be I'm an African.
So when you are sad and you listen to this song makes you happy, feel encouraged. The song gives you hope for a bright future.
Message the world.
All talent, there's always room for improvement.
To have faith.
We can be lazy and wait until it's over, or work hard and, try to be ready whenever there is something to do. We can just be on point.
So we need to join hands and realize that together we can achieve.
For John so loved this world now, he gave his only begotten Son. Whosoever will believeth in him should not perish but live. God did not send his Son to come free, condemn this world, but through him this world might be saved. Oh my children, give me
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Welcome back to
KUTV Rise today. Still, Biashara Tuesday is on air. We just had a conversation there on exploring investment opportunities, and it was with a student of Kenyatta University, but also an organizing secretary of the Finance Society of Kenyatta University, FSKU. They help us delve into some of these conversations which are relevant for university students and also young people. We also got to hear from a senior accountant at Rocket Limited, who gave us information on exactly how to be prepared for the market, but also looking at your personality traits. How risk averse are you? How agreeable are you? How trustworthy are you? All these play a key role in ensuring or in positioning you for investment opportunities. So sometimes you're not a risk taker, which also prevents you from getting into opportunities, or you're too agreeable, which leads you to some unscrupulous deals. But those are things you should be thinking about, and leave us a comment also on social platforms. I've been receiving a couple of those messages from you guys at KUTV Kenya and also at Richard_Okenye. So let me give a shout out to a few guys before they have issues with me later. Ed Lens, looking sharp. Thank you for tuning into the show. You're saying let's get the bug. Welcome back, Ed Lens. Dennis Kimani tuned in. Hope umepata boat. All right, it's raining outside. I hope also Dennis Kimani has made his way to City Park, where he normally operates from. Boat, yes, Nairobi County had already bought a couple of those. Let's hear if you are one of those who are beneficiaries. Kazi Safi, Mr. Moneyman, Engineer Francis Maina, tuning in to the show. Thank you, Frank Maina, for tuning in and your feedback as well. We TV and Ojwang Mariam are watching us all the way from Runda. Asante sana. Say hi to the people of Runda. Kunanyesha huko kweli? Mnahitaji boat ama mnalia ndani ya Range Rover? Tuned in from Ukunda, Kwale County is Davis Pundi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But thank you for also joining us here this morning. More feedback is coming in. We are streaming on Burudani TV, which is the YouTube link that you should follow to check out the other feedback that is there as well. One last comment before I go and bring in my next guest, Calvin Inzala. Calvin Inzala tuned in from Kenyatta University. Big up to our guest, Mr. Isaiah, who just left the air, and also my organizing secretary, that is Calvin's organizing secretary from FSKU, saying so educative. Thank you, Calvin, for that feedback. I'm going to come back here with an exclusive interview, and we have the privilege of engaging Kazi Mhendi. I'm hoping also I'm pronouncing that correctly, coastal names and some of that intonation. We'll get to hear from her. She's a distinguished social entrepreneur and also a leadership development facilitator. We're going to get to hear of her impactful work at Elimu Fanaka. So what I want you to do is type out elimufanaka.org. Take a look at what is happening there, some of those programs. We'll come back to discuss it. Don't go too far. All right, here we are with Kazi Mhendi already, and Elimu Fanaka. It's very impactful and a very powerful tool to transform communities. I'm seeing here there have already, with over 6,000 learners who have been positively influenced, and this is across a couple of regions from Taita Taveta to Kajiado to Narok counties as well. Kazi Mhendi's efforts are going to underscore the vital role that education plays in fostering sustainable change. Yesterday was World Children Day, so this is also one of those programs which are very key in providing visionary leadership and also community development. Let's get to hear from her. Of course, I don't want to preempt so much. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richard. Yes. As you've heard, my name is Kazi Mhendi, and I am the team lead and founder of Elimu Fanaka. My role there is to spearhead the vision, but I have a team on the ground that is doing all this work, including the community that we work with. Our work, as I mentioned, Richard, is more participatory and very human-centered, and so we focus on how can we work with the communities to move them from where they are to where they desire to be? Okay. And the goal of Elimu Fanaka, which is ultimately, is to create sustainable communities. For many years now, we have seen that rural communities have been left behind, and we always go back to solving the same problems many years back, or we find things that we've done worse than we had left them. And so our goal is, instead of us going back to solve the problems, how can we work together with the communities to actually solve those problems? And so we focus on participatory approach and human-centered design to work with the community so that we can move forward. And so that's why you see Elimu Fanaka, which works with schools as centers, and education is the tool.
Elimu Fanaka, prosperity, education for prosperity. Why prosperity?
I believe for any human to prosper, you need education, and that is debatable, because you might ask me education, and there's so many children or so many young people who are educated and they're still not prosperous. But it's education in what phase? Like, what is education for you? Because education can mean so many things to many people. So for us is wholeness education, spiritual, mental, physical, and intellectual education, because you might go to school and learn all these books and still remain where you are, but then you can meet someone and be educated and get something from them that will really transform your life. And so what Elimu Fanaka does is we do alternative learning approach. So already the government has curriculum and things that they're doing in class with children, but what Elimu Fanaka comes to do is what is the alternative approaches that we can work with kids and community to move them from where they are to where they are desiring to be.
What are some of these alternative programs? I know, as I already mentioned, people should be checking out the website, elimufanaka.org, so that they are also following through as you are discussing with us here. What are some of these alternative approaches?
So we have two programs. We have Nawiri, which focuses on children. So Nawiri is a Swahili word for thriving, and we believe that it's at that age of the children that start thriving and becoming responsible adults. And so I was speaking with you earlier, and I told you, asked me why children. I said samaki mkunje angali mbichi. So you want to focus on these kids when they're still young and instill in them these principles that they can grow with. And I'll give an example. Yesterday we were working with kids through a session of financial stewardship, something that perhaps you learn when you're in university, or you learn on your own on YouTube University, right? So we're teaching kids how to, last session was around the history of money and why do people use money now, and what should we do with money. And then this yesterday we're doing about, so you have money, what should you do with it? We started talking about the principle of 50, 30, 20, something that even the teachers who were sitting in the class or the adults were like, I should have learned this earlier. Like, I need to sit in this class and learn. And so catch them when they're still young, because while they're still young, they'll be able to learn how to manage and steward their lives to become responsible adults. And so that's why we do Nawiri. So in Nawiri we do two things. We do alternative ways of learning, which is we use arts and culture and mentorship to support kids. And then we also do literacy and numeracy, because one thing that we know, even though Kenya we have gone to university and all, if you go to rural primary schools, some of them, kids who are even in class 8 last year, or this year rather, they did not know how to read and write. And so that's a struggle. And so we want to work with them. We have libraries and books we give them, and so we work with them through reading seminars, creative writing, and also debate and spelling bee, helping them to build that confidence in speaking and also writing, so that they're able to understand the questions, because they come in English. Fortunately or unfortunately, we should learn in our vernacular, but hey, here we are. The world is built by this one language, unfortunately, but we have to really navigate through that. So how do we help these children through numeracy and literacy so that they can catch up with the rest of the world? Yes,
that
and
is
then
Nawiri.
That's Nawiri. And then the second program is Imarisha. We believe that we cannot work with children if we don't bring the adult in the center. So our base or our foundation is how can we strengthen the parent and the teacher so that they can help this child to holistically get this education that we really want them to get. So, because Richard, you are my student, right? You come to school, you learn, and then you are learning these alternative methods of learning, like savings and others. You go home and you tell your mom, I need 5 bob to put in my saving box. They're like, if 5 bob tunafaa kununua nayo sabuni, you know. And so you need first to help all the facets so that they can work together. And so that's why Imarisha is there to strengthen the capacity of parents and teachers so that they can holistically help the learner. Yeah.
All right. So you're using learners and you're also using the community as well,
Yes,
even
so
the
we're
adults within the
working.
community.
We're working with all of them. So
Right.
yeah, because our ultimate goal is to create sustainable communities, and generation is. Sisi tumefika huku, we're like at 30s and we're moving forward, right? So this is the generation that is coming, and we really need to make sure that we have instilled these principles so that they're able to become better citizens.
Right. So Club Ujuzi is within Nawiri. It's not a separate program.
No, it's a club within Nawiri. So Club Ujuzi is now where they go and have fun. They go outside, they have school farms, they plant fruit trees and vegetables, and in the meantime they're growing so that they can sell to the school, and also if they have surplus they can sell to the community. I'll give you an example. There's a school in Taita Taveta called Makingali Primary School, and if you're from Makingali, shout out. I'm also an alumni from there. They were doing beadwork, so that's also part of Club Ujuzi. So Club Ujuzi, kids are allowed to choose what they want to do. So the kids were doing apiculture, which is beekeeping. The kids were doing permaculture, which is the organic farming, and then the kids were doing beading and weaving. And we're hoping at some point in Kajiado, maybe if they want to do animal husbandry, they can do that. And so last year they were doing beading, and they sold close to 50,000. And so what they're doing with this money is now they will take the money and revolve it back into either the beading, or if they don't want to do that, they can lend the money to another school which is doing Club Ujuzi, and then they can use the money and then return it back with an interest. So now we grow a revolving fund around the Club Ujuzis in different schools. Yeah.
All right. That is also, a notable achievement that you could point out from your program. I just wanted us to know how you measure your impact in terms of, I know maybe it's some of those activities and in the success of them. But since we're looking at a sustainable community, how can we take a look back from next year and say now we are making progress?
That's a really good question. I love that question because I just came from a conversation on Sunday about impact and reach, and the argument was like most of the organizations are looking at the numbers, the numbers of people we've reached, 6,000, 10,000, a million. But what Elimu Fanaka is doing is we're looking at impact as, is this community able to do this thing on their own? Should Elimu Fanaka draw back and say we're no longer in existence? Will this community still move along? And can they be even the tool that other people can come and learn from? And I'll give you an example now using Club Ujuzi. Say we have School X. So this school has been doing Club Ujuzi for 2-3 years, and they have really grown. They have a greenhouse, they have an apiary for apiculture, they have other things. And so because of that, the money that they have been getting as revenue, they've used to either revamp their libraries. They put books in the library and computers, and they've opened that library too, because we also do community resources as a library center. So our library is not close to, say in KU, the library is not just
close to the fraternity.
The fraternity is open to the community outside. So then they're able to bring other people, and they'll pay either 5 shillings or 10 shillings to be in the library. So that money generates income to improve and first lift the school, but also the kids feel confident and they are proud of their school. So other schools start looking inside and they're like, we want to do what School X has done. And so for us, that is impact. Impact is when our community has been able to lift themselves from where they are, and now they're actually transferring those skills to other people.
What I'm getting here, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to that question which I had asked earlier on, is education really the greatest equalizer? I feel maybe we've been taking a look at it the wrong way, or I'll speak for myself, which is thinking that it's an equalizer between me and someone else, maybe to get to a level of income where I'm also as rich as other people. But I think from your perspective, from the angle in which you're approaching it with Elimu Fanaka, it's equalizing even communities, which means there's communities which have resources as well as others which have previously been marginalized.
I'll tell you. So I read a book, and if you love reading like me, you can go and read. It's called the Walkouts Who Walked On. So walk out, walk on, and it talks about communities that defied the norm and they were like, we don't want to just sit down and do everything that everyone is doing. Let's start working together as a community and start figuring out, can we solve our problems ourselves? Because Tomboya said, there's no one coming to save you. To save us. So let's just rise and start doing these things on ourselves. So if education is an equalizer, then what is education? That's the question. Is it me going to school and sitting in class and having so much theory that when I'm done with school, I really don't know what to do with it? Or is it me learning practical things that can really help me? Club Ujuzi means a club for skills. So these kids are learning skills that will help them. Should they finish school and not go to high school and university, they have something they can focus on. I'll give you a short story about myself.
Sure.
So I grew up in Taita Taveta, where our office is. We're in Kajiado and Narok, as you've had. And at the age of 12, I was finishing my class 8 because my mom was so busy, so we went to school very early. And 13, I'm supposed to go to Form 1, or 14, I'm supposed to go to Form 1, but I didn't. I stayed out of school for 7 years because during that time was also the time that Moi government was retrenching a lot of people. So my mom and dad were retrenched, and they lost their job, they lost their property, they lost everything. And so we went from wherever we were to
Nothing.
bottom of bottoms.
Yeah.
And so that meant I could not go to high school. And so for 7 years, I had to figure out life. I started working at 13, selling things on the street, babysitting people's homes, being a nanny, and all those things that people do that are really rough for children. And I'm just imagining, if my school had Club Ujuzi, I would have known I could use my mom's little farm to grow vegetables and start selling the vegetables. And maybe in a span of 6 months, I would have gone back to school. Or if Club Ujuzi was in my school, and because it's involving the community, my mom would have learned that she could use other ways to help us to go to school. So I'm thinking, Kazi, who is in school right now, should she not, and God forbid that she doesn't go to high school, I'm so grateful for the government because things have been subsidized. Education is now almost free even for the high school, like the day school, you only pay a few things. So kids should be able to go to school. But should that happen, this child has enough skill, educated enough to navigate life challenges.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I went to high school.
Eventually you did?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to high school and I finished my degree at DESA and my master's at USIU.
So you went to high school 7 years later?
Yes, I was 19 when I was in Form 1.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know.
A few people can relate to this story, and a few who are watching, actually, I'm just not going to mention their names. You see, you're not the only person who went to high school way later. And it speaks to, when we talk about some of these initiatives which are community-centered, I don't know if this is a curveball to you, and you can let me know. But cultural and socio-economic contexts also come into play. Yeah. So how do you factor that in the context of the different communities in which, and these are different counties you're trying also to expand into? Do you have that in mind, and how do you approach?
We do, and I love Kenya because it's so beautiful. It's multi-tribal, multicultural, and that's the beauty of our country. So the thing about the work that we do, we don't go knocking people's doors and just saying, hey, we're here, we have this amazing thing that we want to do with you. But what we do is we work with people that have invited us. So like Taita Taveta County. So let me just retract back. So when I was thinking of Elimu Fanaka back in 2010, before even I went to high school, my dream was, I used to see in the television every time in Turkana, there's floods, kids are dying, there's hunger. So I used to tell myself, when I grow up, I'm going to be a trade ambassador, and then I'll have so much money, and then I'll build this big complex in Turkana that will be a school, and then the rich will go and take their kids there, but then 30% of that will be
used in the community.
Yeah, the community. So I was thinking Turkana, because everyone sees other people's problem. But then when we registered, someone asked me, why don't you start from your doorstep? People in Taita Taveta, they still do not have the education, so why don't you start from your doorstep? So then I retracted my thinking, and I was like, let me go to Taita Taveta. And then because because of my journey, like I said, I started working at 17, I left home when I was very young. At 13, I left home when I was a teenager. And so I came to Nairobi when I was 17, and so now going back to Taita, I'm speaking English, I don't know Kitaita, and I now have to figure my Kiswahili has an accent, and so it was so funny how to like connect with people. But then I had to go back to my primary school, my alumnus. And so I said, I was a student here, I don't know how many years back, and I really love to give back. And so I had to start from there. And then when we started growing to go to Kajiado, we had to work with county ambassadors, people who know us, and they know our work, and they believe that our work is amazing, and then they open doors to us. And they, because they speak the language of these people, we work with them. And then we have to be humble enough to learn from this culture, to learn from these people, so that we can work together to solve the problem, because we're not giving them solutions. Solutions come from the community. People who have the problems also have the solutions. So we have that mentality of, we do not know how to solve your problems, you solve them yourself, but we're here to work together to do it. And that's why it is a participatory approach and not us coming to give you what we know.
Right. I have a question from a teacher here. It's called Mr. John, and he's asking, how do you integrate within the school curriculum? Does it run parallel, or is it within the curriculum?
Thank you so much, Mr. John. That's a really good question. So, Elimu Fanaka is an after-school program. So we do not interfere with the school program at all. We are very respectful of the learning, and one of the things usually we try as much as we can to do is to not go to school when there's learning continuing. So we do our after-school program after the evening break, when kids are almost breaking to go home. So most of the sessions are like 45 minutes during school time, and then when the school closes is when we have like longer sessions, either in the community. And so how are they integrated in the normal learning? So if we're doing like reading seminar is, we pick a book, so that's under Nawiri, right? Literacy. So we pick a storybook, we read with kids, and then we do hard words, we do creative writing, so we give them assignments. So we believe by doing that, we're helping the teachers, because in CBC there's reading, so we're helping the teachers to, in that progress of helping their kids to know how to read and write. In the writing, creative writing, the kids are also learning how to. Klabu Juzi has borrowed a lot from CBC. So in CBC there's agriculture, and they're learning how to do organic farming, they're using shed nets, they're finding creative ways of farming in dry and drought spaces. So I was actually looking at the agriculture grade 5 book, and I was like, oh my goodness, they're doing similar things that we're doing. And so I was so happy that we're not really off completely from the Kenyan curriculum, but we're doing things outside the classroom. So it's after school program.
It's an after school program. So if you're a school out there who'd like to have this, of course, as she said, they go to the people who want them as well. So please invite over Elimu Fanaka to your institution. Mr. John Ototo, I believe, who's asked us that question. Are there any notable partnerships that have been able to bring you to the point here?
Elimu Fanaka does not work alone. So we believe that in this non-profit space, you cannot work alone, because the only profit you're making is the change and the impact that you're creating. And so for us to be able to move forward, we have to work with the government, the Ministry of Education, but also we work with other organizations that are working in the education space. And I would like to mention specifically what is happening this weekend. With Metis Collective, we have something we call Reimagine Ed, where we're reimagining education, and we have Reimagine Ed Summit that is happening on Thursday and Friday, and we're going to talk everything around CBC. Is CBC working for all? Your question of equalizer. Is it really working for all? And so if you're interested, please go to Metis Collective website and register to attend. It's going to happen at the Nairobi National Museum on Thursday and Friday. And also you'll find us there showcasing. So you'll come and learn what does Elimu Fanaka do in real place. We have a fun game that we do. It's a numeracy and literacy game. It's called Gonga the Game. And using Gonga the Game, kids are playing something like bowling, but at the same time they're learning how to be confident. They're learning how to relate with each other in a very respectful way. They're learning how to count, they're learning how to read, they're learning how to write. So, yes.
Okay, please do show up there and check out metiscollective.org. I'm here to just give you information. She's the expert. I'm just relaying what is left there. So metiscollective.org, that's where you get to check out and register for Reimagine Ed. So Reimagine Education.
Yes.
One word that has been recently brought up, especially if we're speaking about CPC, it's capacity building. Do you do capacity building for Elimu Fanaka, or
That's
do
a
you
good question.
have instructors that you send out?
We call it capacity strengthening because
Okay.
we believe that you already built.
Okay.
So what is it that we can strengthen in you? So we do strengthening of teachers and parents, but also we do strengthening of our own team. So when you ask about partnership, we have so many partnerships that come to support our team, whether it's in leadership development or just organizational learning. We have other organizations that come to strengthen our teachers. So apart from Metis, we work with other organizations out there, and you can check our website. We have put all our partners up there. We also capacity strengthen the community. So say, for example, the community have a knowledge and skill, but they do not have resources. So how then do you capacity strengthen them? By working with them, training them on how to maintain and manage the resources that they have to create more out of that. Yes. So.
Okay. There are very many challenges within the education sector in the nation, and now you're a stakeholder. There may be recommendations that you have that could improve the current education curriculum. Maybe there are pointers here and there that you've been able to encounter and smoothen on your way.
So I want to say that I'm a fan of CBC. I love CBC, and CBC reminds me my time when I was school. I'm not that old, but I did the 844 where before they phased out the the masonry, the tailoring, the home science, the music, there was a lot of skills that people were learning. And so I want to think that my cousins who are older than me, they, even when they went to college or high school, they still had skills that they came out of primary school with. And so I'm a supporter of CBC, and I love CBC, and I think if delivered well, and if teachers are capacity strengthened, and parents are also informed on how to support their children, this curriculum is the best for Kenya and for our children today.
Right. One of the problems we are facing in our community, if we are speaking community in general, we are speaking as Kenyans, as a community, is leadership, right? And if we talk of sustainable communities, there's an importance to have also leadership development in the context of education. Do you have this also as well within Elimu Fanaka, and what kind of impact are you expecting to have?
We do. So under Nawiri, we have leadership. So our mentorship is all centered around leadership. How do you support children to become, I hate the word character development because it has been misused. So now we actually call leadership development. So our children learn to become leaders, to become responsible citizens. But if you look at Imarisha, the two activities under Imarisha is parents, economic and leadership development. And we also have teachers, professional and leadership development. Because I believe leadership is the thing that has really either moved a country forward or stagnated us to where we are. And so we use an approach called adaptive leadership, because adaptive leadership means that you're adapting to the current situation and working with the challenges that people are facing and figuring out how to navigate through that. And I learned that from an amazing school of leadership called Adaptive Change Advisors. You can check them online. I was one of the facilitators there for a while, and they always have like the workshops every quarter. So if you're interested, you can go on Adaptive Change Advisor and check and learn about adaptive leadership, because that's a best way of looking at leadership in general, because you're looking at leadership from the community or the people themselves and figuring out how can I work with this group from here to point B, where is their imagined reality or desired reality.
All right. I have here Sophia Mwikali. She says she's very passionate with education. Can she join Elimu Fanaka as an instructor?
Thank you so much, Sophia. We are always looking for volunteers. So if you go to our website, you can see our email is info@Elimu Fanaka. And if you like to volunteer, you can share your expertise and tell us what you want to do. And maybe we don't have a job at the moment, but we do have something for you, which is volunteering to support us either in the work that we do. See what is of interest for you, and then let us know where you can give your hand, because we're always looking for people. We're only 5 on the ground, and so we really need that capacity strengthening in
Okay.
terms of volunteers. Yes.
Okay. All right. One thing I really love as we close up is these images I'm seeing on the site of the kids in the farms, all looking like farmers.
Yeah.
This is good for them. You're 21 and you have 16 years of work experience already at that point. It's going to be really good
That's true.
for sustainable communities.
Yes.
As we wrap up now, Kazi, could you share maybe just one takeaway? I know there's been many, but just one takeaway or in 2 sentences or so on the transformative power of education and the mission that Elimu Fanaka has.
Okay. So I believe that for us to be transformed as a community, we have to work as a collective. We have to move together. So my final words would be like, don't look at education as a single thing standing alone. It's education that brings all this together. So the doctor needed education, the teacher needed education, everyone that you see on the street really needed education. So how can we work together collectively to support the education system and not point finger and say it's not working, this needs to be done that way. If you know how to do it better, then please bring your knowledge and let's work together so that we can move this forward and transform our communities. And that is why Elimu Fanaka.
Right.
Yes.
Kazi, passion, dedication, that's all I can hear from you. Thank you very much for the change you're trying to create.
Thank you so much, Richard, for having me.
All right.
And I'm so grateful for being here. And I hope you all will look us up on our social medias too,
Yeah.
and follow our work so that you can replicate it in your community. You don't have to have us come to your community. If you see what you're doing is great, come and learn and do it. Because my hope is that we can be all Elimu Fanakas all over Kenya.
All right. Education is the change that we have. Stay educated, stay inspired as well. May your days be filled with laughter, just like Kazi's name in Swahili, which means work.
Yeah.
But she's shown us here how meaningful work can be also a joyous adventure, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, a short break on Biashara Tuesday. I'll be right back with much more. Nick Mwadime Mwangi is preparing to have us a look at the headlines and also the important stories of the day. What is happening in politics and how is it affecting your business? Don't go too far.
What are some of the ways through which you can develop these skills so that you are comfortably fitting into the job?
You have to put yourself in positions where you are uncomfortable in the sense that you are not clear about what to do.
Because I used to work a corporate job before. So when I left, I happened to visit someone's farm around this area.
So this project is called Security Breach Detector and Readiness Familiarize. It is meant to be used to detect, detonate explosive.
We'll tackle all the tough issues, discuss all the weird moments, and hopefully share a few laughs along the way.
Fashionistas! Get ready to level up your style game. Tune in to Fashion Diaries every Monday at 8 p.m. with me, Ashley Asach. From Kia Hills to split suits, we've got the trends that will make you shine. Don't be left out. Join us for a fashion-filled adventure.
you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za taarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani, swahibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalunukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Hello everybody, I'm Nana. And I'm Gigi. Welcome to Engine Season 2. The place to find out about the world we live in and the creatures that we share our planet with. Join us on the most exciting adventures across the African continent. See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes, and out of this world technologies. Meet incredible scientists and learn fantastic facts. Explore, discover, be amazed. Be part of the next generation of African change makers. Be a part of Engine, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay!
We're learning every day. Engine leads the way.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Technovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
All right, we are back live on air on KUTV Rise today. Biashara Tuesday is what is on air, and we're engaging with you on all social platforms. Let's see who has been sending in messages so far. Of course, I've given a shout out to a couple of those guys who've been tuning in from 7 in the morning, and we'll continue to do so. Gilo Mamu tuned in the show and enjoying the money talk from Thika. Salimia watu wa Thika na utuambie kunaendeleaje. They say that some people in MKU, some people within Thika Road are thick, but those in MKU are thicker. Have you heard of that, Nick Madime?
That's a good one, Richard. Good morning.
Good morning to you. We'll be coming back to have a look at the headlines as well, and then also dive into the most important stories of the day. We just finished a conversation with Kazi Muhendi, who is also founder of Elimu Fanaka, which is an organization trying to create sustainable communities through learners. They've engaged over 6,000 learners so far, and they continue to do so with some of those alternative approaches to education. Human-centric, but also very practical in its approach. So check out elimufanaka.org. I'll be right back with Nick Madime Mwangi to take a look at the papers. It was one great philosopher, Vibes Cartel, who said underwater, and that's the headline on the Daily Nation here this morning. Underwater, that's the situation we find ourselves in. So you can play that song as the background to your day this morning as you have a look at this very dire situation that we have and we're facing as a nation. So let me go through the headlines and then I will bring through Nick to help me break them down. The Daily Nation has underwater. Weatherman warns Kenyans to brace themselves for even more rains in the coming days. Record rains have pounded several parts of the country. 33 counties are drenched. 20 people dead so far, reported here on the Daily Nation. 80,000 families have been displaced. Towns, estates, villages across the country have been marooned. El Nino is here with us, and the toll is climbing. It's claiming a lot of lives, also families and property. The Standard, which is the other, with the short headline this morning, Politics of Fuel. Opposition leader Raila Odinga has renewed his call that the G2G deal is between private entities and not the Saudi government and the Kenyan government. He's now called for the resignation of 2 CSs and other officials and are probed by the EACC, the Auditor General and EPRA. But MPs are saying Parliament has the documents. Senator Okiya Omtata says he also has the documents. So who's got the documents? Because also President William Ruto is asking Raila, where are the documents? So who exactly has got these documents on the G2G deal? In the meantime, there's also a case by Anne Njoroge, who went missing last week. We discussed here on the show, also involved in 17.2 billion worth of this deal. World Bank reveals new 1.8 trillion loans for Kenya is the headline on the Business Daily. There's about 684 billion that is going to fund public sectors, and Kenya is turning to more of these multilateral banks for budgetary support, including the IFC, the World Bank, and IMF. IMF is currently really happy with Kenya at 0 subsidies, and World Bank is definitely expected to come with more terms and conditions for disbursement of this loan. Grab yourself a copy and let's get into it. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Richard.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's been
Incredible.
2 weeks
Yeah.
or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Nowadays, 2 weeks is a long time for you. So you're regular now.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
welcome back.
it's good to be here.
Good
Thank
to
you so
have you.
much to you, Richard, to Director Ryan. It's always a pleasure to be home. KUTV is home.
Yeah.
I feel home every time I'm here.
Definitely.
Yes,
we
yes.
see you quite often here,
Yes.
and we are happy to, maybe get you a small room around here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a
You need
part
to
of
get, you need to get me an office here.
an office for Sir Nick
Yes.
here
Yes.
at KUTV premises. The
Yes,
relevant
yes,
officials
yes.
wamesikia here.
Yes.
Tell us about the headlines and what you think this morning.
The Daily Nation talks about under the water.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a sad morning.
Yeah.
Because 2 months ago, me and you here, Richard, talked about the issue of the weather.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And our sitting president, that is President Ruto, really downplayed the issue of
El Nino. Mhm.
He said that he will talk to God.
Mhm.
So I'm here sitting down very, very quietly asking myself,
Mhm.
did his prayers really reach, or did God really decided it to pour?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. President William Ruto did actually refute the claims that El Nino will be hitting the country, even after warnings from Kenya's weatherman.
Yes.
So we are listening to the president, we're listening to the weatherman, and now we're suffering. Who is to blame at this point?
And
because preparedness is also one of those things we did discuss.
If you don't plan, you plan to fail.
Mhm.
That's the normal quote.
Mhm.
And the sad bit is our president has been known to be the minister of weather, the minister of interior, the minister of finance. He's in all his capacity. But this time, in his sitting capacity as the minister of weather
And faith.
he really failed on his job.
Right. Here we see 20 people dead so far. This is a sad state. 80,000 families have been displaced. 33 counties out of 47.
Yes.
There was an amount of money that was disbursed. You ask
Yes.
yourself at this point, what exactly happened for these figures that were in billions of shillings into the counties for preparedness? Nairobi County did purchase a few boats here and there. Were they the most prepared maybe at this point?
I don't know. I don't know, Richard. Maybe probably me and you did not. We failed to miss the boat in the morning
Right.
to come to KUTV.
Yes.
Apparently, I know.
We've been asked here by Dennis Kimani if we caught a boat on our way here to the studio.
I understand people have been picking the boat at railway station.
Hopefully, if you actually have got any kind of preparedness from your county, please let us know if you see any boat around. But so far, counties are suffering. 33 out of 47. I see here.
education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za taarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani sahibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalonukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Season 2. The place to find out about the world we live in and the creatures that we share our planet with. Join us on the most exciting adventures across the African continent. See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes, and out of this world technology. Meet incredible scientists and learn fantastic facts. Explore, discover, be amazed. Be part of the next generation of African change makers. Be a part of Engine, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay! Let's go!
We're learning every day.
Let's go! Let's go!
And you need the way.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the 4th Industrial Revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. A every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Majuka ni kama unarusha mamikono, tingisha kichwa chuko Bona nyinyi na baba shanki kula nyama choma tu firi. Give me your hand and show. Niko na pesa kushinda babako. Kasikia vibaya uko kweli.